1987. 22-year-old Jordan Belfort arrives at his first job, a trainee at a major brokerage firm on Wall Street. No money, no experience, suit bought on credit, lunch packed from home. But he has enormous drive and a head full of illusions about how this world works. A few minutes inside the office, and Jordan falls completely in love with it. Hundreds of people screaming into phones, money flying through the air, adrenaline you can almost feel physically. One of the senior guys immediately calls the new kid a worm and dismisses him without a second glance. But senior broker Mark Hanna singles Jordan out from the crowd. This is exactly where Jordan wants to be. This is exactly where he is going to conquer the world from.
3, 2, 1, let's fuck!
You want to know what money sounds like? Go to a trading floor on Wall Street.
That same day, Hannah takes him to lunch and shares something no university on earth will ever teach. The job of a broker is not to make money for the client. The job of a broker is to convince the client to keep trading again and again, day after day, because commissions come from every single transaction, not from the client's profit. The client's money is nothing more than a tool for generating fees. It does not matter whether they win or lose. What matters is that they never stop. And if a client ever wants to pull out their winnings, the broker's job is to stop them and talk them into making another purchase. Hannah also explains that surviving in this business requires one thing above everything else: a constant release valve. Alcohol, women, parties, not debauchery, professional hygiene. Jordan is completely electrified, and he immediately starts living exactly that way. This is his first real lesson about how the world actually works. He will carry it with him for the rest of his life.
The parade comes to town. Going down Broadway is a one-way street, whichever way I go.
For the next 6 months, he grinds through everything Wall Street has to offer, scraping by on almost nothing, and finally earns his broker's license. But his career on the big stage ends before it ever really starts. In October 1987, Black Monday hits, the largest single-day stock market crash in American history. The Dow Jones loses 22% in one trading session, a financial tsunami. The firm shuts down within days. Jordan is out on the street, no job, a young wife named Teresa, and rent he cannot cover. She offers to pawn her engagement ring to help them stay afloat. He stops her. Flipping through the newspaper, Teresa finds him a broker position out on Long Island. It is definitely not Wall Street, but there is no other option.
This place is... What does it say?
Stockbrokers.
Jordan walks into a tiny office inside a strip mall on Long Island. The people around him have no education, no financial knowledge, no computers, no idea how markets work. Just salespeople. In the interview, they explain what the company does. It sells so-called penny stocks, shares of tiny, completely unknown companies trading for a few cents each. The big firms on Wall Street want nothing to do with them. Too small, too sketchy. But the commission on every single sale is 50%. Against the 1 or 2% you earn on the big market, that sounds like it is from a completely different universe. Jordan picks up the phone and over the next 30 minutes sells several $1,000s worth of stock, effortlessly, without any strain, as if he has been doing exactly this his entire life. The whole office stares at him with their mouths open. The manager smiles. Sure, he was pushing garbage, but the only thing Jordan cared about was how much he was going to make for himself.
I was selling garbage to garbage men and making cash hand over fist. The only problem you're gonna have is that you didn't buy more.
One day over lunch, Jordan meets Donnie Azoff, his next-door neighbor, a man with zero functioning brakes, zero fear of consequences, and an absolutely relentless energy. Donnie had been watching Jordan for a while and could not wrap his head around how much he was making. The moment he finds out Jordan earns $72,000 a month and gets a look at his paycheck, he walks straight to the phone, calls his job, and quits on the spot. They had known each other for exactly 5 minutes.
We're closed right now, so please leave us a message.
Hello, my name's Jordan Belfort. My partner and I are very interested in renting out your garage.
Together, they go out on their own. They build a team, not Ivy League graduates, not finance professionals, former meat salesmen from the neighborhood, used car dealers, guys from the old block, random acquaintances. Among them, Robbie, Chester, Brad, and one guy who actually has a law degree. People with one thing in common. They know how to talk, and they are not afraid of rejection. Jordan trains all of them personally using his now famous trick. Sell me this pen. Brad demonstrates the technique perfectly. When Jordan asks him to write down a name on a napkin, Brad replies that he has nothing to write with and hands him the pen. Exactly. Create the need, and the client will buy. Jordan builds them a detailed sales script. Start by offering stable shares in well-known corporations to build trust, then push the cheap junk with the enormous commission. The money starts coming in as a trickle, then a river, then a genuine waterfall. Very soon, there is a company with the impressive-sounding name Stratton Oakmont. Sounds like something with 100 years of history behind it. In reality, it is just an office full of phones and people who know how to persuade better than anyone else on the market.
And Kushan Airlines is the future of airlines. Get in now.
My name is Nikki Koskov.
Chester Ming,
and I am a senior vice president with Stratton Oakmont.
The Stratton Oakmont office is something that cannot be described in ordinary words and cannot be forgotten. A permanent carnival that never stops, not during work hours, not after. Between the rows of phones, there are half-naked dancers. Champagne flows in the conference rooms in the middle of the workday. Dwarf-tossing competitions are a regular event. Live animals are brought into the office, once an actual lion. On a dare, the receptionist shaves her head completely bald for $10,000 and does not hesitate for a second. Jordan deliberately creates and encourages all of this managed chaos. People need to blow off steam right here, so they stay charged up and do not fall apart somewhere else. And the sales keep growing. The money from cheap stocks with enormous margins keeps coming in, heavily and constantly. Then Forbes runs a piece on him and calls him the Wolf of Wall Street and a twisted Robin Hood. Jordan is furious, but Teresa convinces him there is no such thing as bad press. The next day, the office is swarmed by brokers from across the country who want to work for him. The company doubles in a month. Jordan even hires his own father as the company's head accountant. The man watches everything happening around him and tries to talk sense into his son, warning him that all this madness is going to come back around like a boomerang.
$26,000 for one fucking dinner.
Okay, no, this could be explained. Dad, we had the Pfizer client.
At one of the parties, they decide to take things to the next level. Start doing IPOs for major companies to build real credibility in the market. In a heavily altered state, Donnie starts muttering a name. Steve Madden, an old friend who has become a famous women's shoe designer. He is going to be their next partner. At that same party, Jordan notices Naomi, a stunning blonde whose beauty does not go unnoticed by a single person in the room. Despite Teresa's disapproving looks and the fact that Naomi has a boyfriend, Jordan flirts with her openly and earns her interest. They agree to have dinner. He drives her home after, almost turns around and goes back to his wife. But Naomi appears in front of him completely naked. You understand what happens next. A passionate affair begins between them, and soon Teresa catches them together in the back of a limousine. Jordan has nothing to say. 3 days later, he files for divorce, and Naomi moves in with him. Meanwhile, the business is becoming more and more illegal. Stratton Oakmont rolls out the pump and dump scheme on an industrial scale. They quietly buy shares in unknown tiny companies for pennies. Then through their brokers, they manufacture artificial hype among thousands of clients across the country. Urgency, fear of missing out. You have to buy now. The price explodes. Jordan and his partners sell at the peak. The clients are left holding shares that immediately collapse back to nothing. The scheme is as old as the market itself, but Jordan turned it into a precision machine.
one rat hole or another. Now, a rat hole is a friend, like Brad here, who held stock in his name from me.
The money moves so fast and in such volume that a completely unexpected problem emerges: how to hide it. The FBI is watching Stratton Oakmont too closely for them to just deposit tens of millions into regular bank accounts. The Securities and Exchange Commission sends a lawyer in to audit the company. And at that exact same time, Belfort is running another stock manipulation scheme. Meanwhile, he proposes to Naomi with a ring featuring a yellow diamond, throws a bachelor party in Vegas that costs $2 million, and gets married in a lavish ceremony on the beach. At the wedding, he meets Naomi's Aunt Emma from London. His wedding gift to his new wife is a 150-foot yacht named after her, on which they spend a 3-week honeymoon. Life with Naomi comes with a 20-room mansion on Long Island, a full staff of maids and cooks, a personal Bell Jet Ranger helicopter, and a garage holding a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, and several Porsches. Drugs are no longer entertainment. They are a daily requirement.
The most expensive real estate in the world, with maids, cooks, landscapers, you name it.
A year and a half later, the marriage starts cracking apart. Naomi discovers that Jordan has a mistress he is spending enormous sums on. In the middle of one of their fights, she throws a glass of water directly in his face inside their own house. She reminds him that he is a father. Their daughter Skylar keeps waking up from his late-night helicopter landings on the lawn. The lifestyle is taking its toll. Chronic sleep problems, back pain, constant dry eyes, all direct consequences of daily drug use. Jordan stopped noticing a long time ago, where the pleasure ends and the destruction begins. After yet another blow-up, he goes to make peace with her, kisses their daughter, but Naomi is still furious and will not let him near her. He gets in the car and drives to work.
Yeah, there's something a little bit different about his eyes.
Rocco and Rocco, say hi. Hi, fella.
An important day arrives. They bring Steve Madden himself into the office, the owner of the famous women's shoe company. Jordan is using his company to run an illegal IPO and manipulate the share price. There is another illegal wrinkle. Donnie and Jordan secretly own a portion of Steve's shares themselves. Steve takes the stage and starts awkwardly and quietly trying to present his new shoes. And the brokers, thoroughly spoiled by Jordan's electric speeches and over-the-top events, start booing him and throwing trash. Jordan stops them and explains, "People exactly like this, who do not fit into this world, are the ones who define trends." Then, Jordan steps up himself and delivers one of his signature motivational speeches. At 1 p.m., trading opens at $4 per share. By 1:03, the price has hit 18. Even the sharks of Wall Street were buying. In 2 hours, they made $22 million. That same day, Jordan gets a call from his wedding videographer. The FBI has requested a copy of the wedding footage. That is how he first learns about Agent Denham, who has been building a case against him for a long time. His private investigator gives him a strict warning: do not go near that agent without a lawyer.
Jordan, do me a favor. The only one that calls this guy is your fucking lawyer.
I can't
you
call
do.
him, right? I'm not
Told
still against the
you.
rules.
Jordan, of course, does not listen. He invites the agents onto his yacht. Lobsters, beautiful women in swimsuits, the whole setup. The visit starts as friendly. He hands over the guest list from the wedding and does his best to project openness and innocence. Then he drops a direct hint about a $500,000 bribe. "Leave the FBI, come work on the exchange with us." The plan collapses completely. The agents are not for sale and make it absolutely clear they are not going to stop coming after a piece of garbage like him. Jordan explodes and kicks them off the yacht, hurling money and expensive lobsters after them as they leave.
Hey, fellas, look what I found in my pocket. Look, a year's salary right here. What I call them? Fun coupons.
Jordan reaches Jean-Jacques Sorel, a Swiss banker who specializes in discreet services for wealthy clients and never asks unnecessary questions. The meeting with Sorel goes well. The banker advises opening accounts in the name of a relative who is not an American citizen. For moving the money across the border, they need a courier. And Jordan immediately thinks of Naomi's Aunt Emma from London. a sweet-looking, elderly woman who no customs officer in the world would ever suspect. But that is not enough. They start taping cash directly to people's bodies, onto Brad's wife and her relatives, who happen to be from Switzerland. Over 2 months, Aunt Emma and Brad's family smuggled $22 million into Europe. The money lands in Swiss accounts opened in Emma's name. The system looks airtight, until Donnie picks a fight with Brad one more time. A serious confrontation flares up, and Brad knocks Donnie out cold right in the office. The beginning of the end.
And I have some more.
Really?
Here.
Oh, thank you.
And here.
Welcome.
A few days later, Donnie meets Brad on the street to hand over a briefcase full of cash, but starts provoking him again and demanding an apology. Their loud argument draws the attention of nearby police. Donnie drops the briefcase and runs. Brad gets taken into custody along with the money. Back at the office, Donnie tries to smooth things over with Jordan by producing a rare variety of Quaaludes, pills his connection had been keeping in reserve for 15 years, treated like the holy grail of recreational substances. Both of them take some. Nothing happens. They take more and more. At exactly that moment, the private detective calls. Get to a payphone right now. Under the first creeping effects of the pills, Jordan gets into his white Ferrari and drives to the nearest phone. The detective tells him Brad was arrested at the meeting Donnie set up and then said absolutely nothing about it. Every phone is tapped. The FBI knows about the bribe attempt. As the call ends, the pills hit at full force. Jordan drops to the pavement in a state of complete physical paralysis, crawls to the car, somehow manages to kick the door open, and drives home. While he is on the road, Donnie, completely out of it, is on the tapped phone having a conversation with the Swiss banker. Jordan somehow makes it home and practically crawls through the front door in front of his own daughter. He manages to wrestle the phone away from Donnie. Then, Donnie starts choking on food and cannot breathe. Jordan forces himself up from the floor and performs CPR. He saves him. The next morning, Jordan wakes up to 2 police officers standing over him. His white Ferrari is completely destroyed. On the way home, he plowed through several parked cars and knocked down multiple road signs. He did not notice any of it. They let him go. No one saw him behind the wheel. Brad, who gave up no one, gets 3 months.
Family man. Honey!
It was a miracle I wasn't killed. Well, you know that I didn't kill anybody else.
The lawyer lays out exactly how serious the situation is and advises making a deal with the prosecution. A few million in fines and walking away clean while that option still exists. If the FBI uncovers everything, not only will every asset be seized, but decades in prison are on the table. Jordan's father backs every word of it. In response, Jordan gathers the entire office, hundreds of people, and delivers a speech about stepping down as CEO to protect the company and the people in it. Beautiful, convincing, completely sincere. The room goes dead silent. A long pause. And then, no. He calls himself a hypocrite for almost giving up when he always demanded the opposite from his team. This is my house, and I am not going anywhere. The room erupts. This is one of the sharpest and most terrifying moments in the entire film. A man standing right at the fork in the road, mouth already open to say the right thing, choosing the opposite. Brad gets released from prison, and the company throws a party on the yacht, but the legal pressure keeps coming. Subpoenas arrive every day for months. Nobody breaks. Everyone is loyal to Jordan. He ignores the lawyer again and flies to Italy with the crew. While they are relaxing, Steve Madden, learning about Jordan's legal troubles, starts quietly selling off the shares registered in his own name. Then the news arrives. Aunt Emma has died of a heart attack. Jordan immediately panics about the $22 million in her account. Sorrel reassures him. The money can be preserved, but Jordan needs to get to Monaco immediately to have the will changed. There is no time to waste. They take the yacht.
We gotta get to London.
Why? Why?
The funeral?
Yeah, babe.
Jordan orders the yacht out to sea despite a storm warning. Naomi needs to get to London for the funeral. They're going by yacht. The boat sails straight into a brutal storm off the coast of Monaco and goes down. In true Jordan Belfort fashion, he orders Donnie to retrieve the pills from the flooded cabin. He is not going to die sober. Donnie risks his life and does it. The Italian Coast Guard pulls them all out alive. Through the porthole of the rescue vessel, Jordan watches his private jet, which had been flying toward Switzerland, fall out of the sky into the ocean. He takes it as a sign from above and decides to get clean for good. 2 years of relative calm and sobriety pass. Jordan is filming a promotional video for one of his sales seminars. And that is when the FBI walks onto the set and arrests him.
Good to see you again, Jordan. You're under arrest. You gotta be joking. Kidding me now?
Things collapse fast. Swiss banker Sorel has been arrested by American authorities on a separate case, along with one of his associates, and immediately gives up Jordan and everyone connected to him in exchange for a lighter sentence. Belfort is charged with securities fraud and money laundering involving hundreds of millions of dollars. Maximum sentence, 20 years. Bail, $21 million. House arrest with an ankle monitor. Donnie comes to the house and swears no one on the team will give him up. He will cover every expense personally. The FBI offers a deal. Name all the participants from the last 7 years, and the sentence drops from 20 years to 4. Jordan tells Naomi. He cannot stand the thought of betraying his friends. She reminds him of his own words. On Wall Street, there are no friends. Their relationship falls apart completely. She tells him she no longer loves him, takes the children, files for divorce, and threatens that in court she will fight to cut off his access to his kids. Jordan falls off the wagon after 2 years of sobriety. He explodes in front of their young daughter, hits Naomi, grabs Skylar, and gets in the car. He reverses through the garage doors and slams into the wall. Naomi runs to the car and rips their trembling daughter out of his arms. Only then does he understand what he has done.
For the next 6 hours, I came up with a list. Friends, enemies, business associates.
Jordan makes the deal. The FBI wires him up. He writes out a list of every single person involved. Donnie's name is at the top. He walks into the office like it is any other day, sits down to lunch with his best friend, and slides him a note on a napkin. I'm wearing a wire. Be careful what you say. Donnie reads it, understands everything. But Donnie himself goes to make a deal with the feds, and the next morning they arrive at Jordan's door with that very napkin as evidence against him for violating the terms of their cooperation. The deal is off. Jordan is arrested in his own home. Agents storm the office and carry out mass arrests. Donnie had found out about the raid ahead of time and wiped his computer clean of everything incriminating. Jordan gives up every single person and gets 3 years instead of 20, plus a fine running into the millions. In the courtroom, only 2 people watch him go with sad eyes. His elderly parents. The company is gone. The wife is gone. The mansion is gone. The yacht is gone. Nothing left. Jordan admits it. This is exactly the boomerang his father warned him about. Prison in Georgia, a place he describes without any bitterness as a country club with tennis courts and decent food. Money, it turns out, works just as well in there as it does anywhere else.
Sell me this pen.
The film ends with a scene that says everything without a single unnecessary word. While Agent Denham rides home from work in a grimy subway car, Jordan Belfort is standing on a stage in Auckland, New Zealand, running a paid sales seminar for several hundred people. The room is full of men and women who bought a ticket specifically to learn what he knows how to do. He is completely in his element. Selling again, only now it is not stocks. It is himself and his name, and it works exactly the same way it always did. The camera moves slowly across the faces in the crowd. They stare at him hypnotically, hungry, fascinated. From the stage comes his famous question, "Sell me this pen." In those faces is the central question of the entire film. Do we judge him? Or are we, if we are honest with ourselves, just a little bit jealous?